This is Bill Wilson. He has covered Wichita business and economics news for years, and now serves as the managing editor of the Wichita Business Journal. Sitting across from him is Tom Shine, who works as the deputy editor of print at the Wichita Eagle, overseeing the newspaper's wide range of coverage. This is their conversation about Wichita.
So Tom, tell me about your kids. Connor's in the business, well, same business as us.
That's right. He's at the Dallas Morning News, covering aviation of all things. How about that? Dallas is a nice town. They drive like crazy people. Crazy people. But it's a great town. He likes it. Elena's in medical school, trying to survive that. And then Laura's over at Newman. J.D. Johnston talked to her into going to Newman.
We have a business journal in Dallas, and that's sort of our regional fulcrum. So I've been down there a few times, and driving in Dallas always leaves me curled up in the back of an Uber, sobbing uncontrollably.
It is not for the weak of mind or spirit.
Well, despite the violence in front of our office, I think we're going to be on Meade for a while. You guys are on the move. What's the latest with that, or does anyone know yet?
I don't know where we're going to be. Henry's was the leader in the clubhouse there for a while. I thought that was a great spot. We're looking at Old Town now, maybe Old Town Square. We'll be downtown. I think that's important for us to be downtown. It'll be a good move. It's going to be great. It's great for downtown because Cargill's going to take that building. Well, you were in that building. Right. There's nothing special about that building.
Right.
The people are special. The building is not special.
It was always the people that made that building.
Yes.
Right.
That's actually been a big lure for us to get people to come here and say, hey, you can live downtown, it doesn't cost you, $4,000 a month like, Kansas City or St. Louis or someplace like that. So knocking that down and letting Cargill build something cool, which I think they'll do, they've got a little bit of money.
It sounds like Cargill is interested in building some space into it too. So everything that we've heard about Cargill investing in downtown has been really kind of the biggest breath of fresh air that I've seen since I've been covering business in Wichita. I think a dynamic mayor is important, and I really think that the city's level of economic development aggression changed perceptibly when Jeff Longwell became mayor. They went aggressively after Cargill. They're out there now. They formed the Greater Wichita Partnership. They're out there now going aggressively after business. They've got a fairly, in my opinion, aggressive plan to activate the river through star bonds and some other things, beginning with a new ballpark and tying it into exploration plays. There's a level of optimism, I think, about the community's future, and a level of just, we're not going to sit back and wait for it to come to us. We're going to go get it at City Hall now that I didn't see when I was covering City Hall for the Eagle.
I think that's really true. I think Cargill helped spur that, like, hey, we can do this, and we can be a winner in this game, and it's helped. But I think Jeff really is trying to push that needle, and I think Jeff Longwell and Jeff were both. But I think that at some point the county's got to get on board, and they are far from being on board right now. It's a different philosophy over there, which I always tell new hires we get who haven't been here. I said, look, we're the New York of Kansas. I said, I know that sounds silly, but I said, for everybody who lives outside of Wichita, we're the big city. We're the gigantic city. We got all your cultural stuff. We have sports,
healthcare,
dining. It's a healthcare hub, business hub, media hub. I said, we're New York for our state. And I said, we need to think of ourselves more like that. We tend to think of ourselves as, I don't know what, but not New York.
I've always felt Wichita had kind of an inferiority complex to the natives. Why?
I don't get it. And what's funny is I think most of the people who move here, like I did in 1980, I think we have a better opinion of ourselves than the people who grew up here.
The lifers, yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, I grew up in Detroit. Detroit's a great town, great city, very vibrant. Do they have problems? Yeah, they got problems. They got a lot of problems. But they still have a lot of really positive things going on here. Do we have issues here? Yes, we have issues here. Do we need to address many of them? We do, and we are. But do we have a lot of things going our way? Yeah, we really do. I think we got a pretty good food scene. Our music scene's getting better. I know that in the 1980s, when I was a young man, there was really nothing to do here. I mean, nothing to do here.
I'm going to argue with you about the food scene. I will not rest until a Freddy's food truck is in Old Town. That is my goal. The one thing I have left to accomplish in life is a Freddy's food truck in Old Town. That has to happen.
That would be bad because I'd be eating there
every day, every day.
Oh my God.
When I came to town in 2005, the arena was just beginning to percolate, the project, and the mood about that was kind of why. Wichita's modus operandi was why.
Right.
To me, it seems like it's changed more to why not. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think people who see it now and see what it's done, I mean, it has not, I mean, and you wrote a lot of those stories, this was not going to be an economic catalyst for us. It wasn't going to change us overnight, but it was another piece to help us to do stuff. I mean, the Coliseum was in the wrong spot. They built in the wrong spot in 1970, still in the wrong spot. So that's not it. I mean, Wichita's funny in that. I mean, as you recall, I mean, it seems silly now, but we didn't want to build NCAT. I mean, that was a huge fight. I think that cost Ben Shortino his job.
Right.
Because there was opposition to building NCAT. And I would look at it and think, well, good God, how could we not build that? And I think we have to get past a lot of that. I mean, we are real frugal, we're real practical, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think you got to look ahead a little bit, look out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and say, what's this region going to need in 15 years?
You make an interesting point about frugality, too, because certainly in '05, when I came here, the mood was, we're not going to spend a dime of tax money on anything. And I think the Cargill decision is a game changer in that realm, too, because it proves that we don't have to load up bags of cash necessarily and drop them on businesses, that we can get private developers involved, that we can do public infrastructure that benefits everyone, not just the company, and to still present a compelling picture to a company that's looking to make a move. Let's talk about our business a little bit, because certainly, even in the time that I work for you and in the time that I've been here, the media business has evolved a little bit. At the Business Journal, my first tour there, they had what I thought was a flawed journalism model, to tell you the truth. The idea was you were going to go out and get a scoop, and you were going to sit on it until Thursday when the paper went to press and hope the Eagle didn't get it first. I mean, everyone ended up with white hair. There's more Grecian in the Business Journal office than anywhere in Wichita, right? Then I went over to the Eagle and I could relax a little bit because it was a daily business and, you're writing for the daily. And I think ultimately things like the Eagle did and things that the other daily papers did convinced ACBJ, American City Business Journals, that you just can't do business like that anymore. And in the midst of this comes this big thing called the internet, which none of us reacted to properly for years. And so we've shifted to a model where we do a daily online product, and then the paper becomes kind of a centerpiece, a deeper dive into something, and then the best of the internet, really, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
The business changed markedly at the Business Journal level. How has it changed for you?
It's changed at every media company, and that would include TV and radio as well, not just print. But you're right, I think most good print products, the ones who are thinking ahead, are using print as they're doing all their stuff on the web first, and then collecting the best stuff for print, trying to make print more of an explainer, more of a deep dive type thing.
We find too that our people, business people, they want us to ask them what they think about stuff. And it could be anything from the presidential election to something as banal as what's your favorite brewery. Engagement is really important to what we're trying to do online. We want you to read, we want you to click, and we want you to engage.
People understand. I mean, we used to have this. People say we were fighting the Business Journal. I don't know if we ever really were fighting the Business Journal. I was more worried about ourselves and doing a good job ourselves. But all the key people in town, business leaders, community leaders, they read both the Business Journal and the Eagle. They also read the Wall Street Journal. They read the New York Times. They read a whole bunch of stuff. They're reading everything. So I worry more about producing a good product and getting it to the right people and doing the right kind of stuff. I worry more about that than I worry about the Business Journal. And I'm sure you worry more about that than you worry about the Eagle.
I would tell you though, candidly that obviously we want to be important, we want to be necessary to the business community, but on the subject of growth, I'd be the first person to tell you, and I think I've written this actually on Viewpoint, that if Wichita's going to get where it needs to get as a city, attracting business, attracting youth, all the things we've talked about, the Eagle's got to be a vibrant part of that.
Well, people forget, I totally agree. And I think people forget that we're a business and we have to make money because we got employees to pay. So we're affected by the economy. We're affected by things going on downtown. Cargill putting 800 people downtown, that's good for our business.
That's right. It's good for our business too.
Yeah, it's good for us. When the city was founded in 1870, city leaders and business people went and found a newspaper, Marsh Murdoch, to bring him back to Wichita to start a newspaper because they knew they needed a newspaper to make the city thrive.
And that hasn't changed.
And that was in 1872, and they realized it then. A good newspaper, good media, I guess, is good for the city because we can write about successes in the business community and elsewhere. We can also write about challenges. We can inform people. We can also, if someone's doing something wrong, we can write about that as well. And I think that's part of our mission as well. But a good newspaper and media group is critical.
Some things have never changed. There's still the Michigan pin. You will notice that 2 losses into the season, I have nothing OU on because 2 losses is a national disaster in Norman.
You got to get over that. We're having a good season. We had a good season last year. I mean, I kind of forgotten how bad it was. We played Maryland the other day at home, beat the living tar out of Maryland.
Our season was over in September. We were totally unprepared to play Houston.
Yes.
In the season opener, looked like they hadn't even convened for fall practice, and then 2 weeks later got absolutely boat raced by Ohio State in Norman, and now we've won 6 in a row, and we're going to win a conference that's the equivalent of winning the loser's bracket at the NBC tournament. You know, what does it mean? I'm very frustrated with the Big 12. I think the Big 12 has slipped in national perception.
And I think they dropped the ball on the expansion thing. Well, either you do or you don't. I mean, it kind of gets back to Wichita a little bit, if we can make that analogy, that you got to have some leadership there to say, look, what's our course?
What's our forward motion?
10 years out, 15 years out. College football is not going to look the same in 15 years that it does now. They've got they're not anticipating that. Wichita is not going to look different. It's going to look different 15 years from now. And the smart people right now are saying, what are we going to be in 15 years?
While we're sitting in our rooms at the nursing home watching it.
That's right. So we'll be able just to commentate. We won't have to worry about it.
If we even know what's going on at that point.
Well, hopefully we will.
On that dour note, thanks for meeting me for breakfast. It's been a pleasure.
It is always an honor to hang out with Bill Wilson. He's always fun.
Thank you, sir.